Hello, everybody, and welcome to the X Factor, another episode of the X Factor with the Crypto Hipster, episode 24, season 2, episode 4. Welcome. Uh, I appreciate all my listeners around the world, and that's what we do here on the X Factor. Is we cover hot topics, regulatory issues, alternative coin news, you name it, in crypto and blockchain globally. And today, there's lots of going on. Got to talk about it. This past Monday, I published book number 74. It's called Fierce, Courageous Heroes. And it's an excerpt and accounts of four of my podcasts into one book. Most notably, Tim Draper, David Ostersey, uh, Kate Taylor, who was a Ukrainian mother who escaped, went to Ireland. Um, all that and more in that book, and you could buy it on Amazon. So please support your friendly neighborhood podcaster, and look forward to really hearing what your thoughts are on that book. So let's kick off the news, though. This is not about me shilling my books. This is about the news. And let's go to the top. I'm trying to think what the top story is of the day. And from a global perspective, I'm going to say at the top story is global. It's the ISDA releases standard definitions for global asset derivatives. What? Yeah. Um, the International Swaps and Derivatives Association is working on two papers to address the fundamental legal risks in the crypto markets. There's lots of risks. That organization, the ISDA, is working on two papers to address the legal risks, such as the insolvency of crypto exchange firms. Okay. The initiative was motivated by the collapse of crypto exchange FTX and previous bankruptcy cases, Voyager, Celsius, and others, that prompted a cascade of liquidity and solvency concerns across the crypto ecosystem. Along with other things, the papers will offer guidance for market participants regarding crypto ownership and the role of intermediaries in the event of bankruptcy. The prospect of insolvency of a major market participant requires firms to consider how they manage counterparty credit risk, which intermediated or custodial structures are most appropriate, and whether the tools employed can reliably be enforced in a bankruptcy scenario. Applying existing bankruptcy rules to a new asset class inevitably raises legal characterization and other questions that must be tackled to provide the necessary certainty, notes the announcement. So they're going to be working on those. That's a big deal because it covers basically the most of the market. And what happened in 2022? The good news is DeFi worked as expected, and I have lots of new podcasts recently and coming up this weekend that have DeFi conversations. And so you could, and I suggest and request that you look at those too. So let's look at more announcements. The White House. Okay. The White House Science Office calls for comments on its digital asset research agenda. So it's asking for comments here. Um, the officer's request for information. Uh, let's see. The administration of the U.S. President Joe Biden is continuing to develop its national digital asset research and development agenda. In requests for information dated January 26th, yesterday, and previewed by the Federal Register, the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, OSTP, invites comments to help it identify agenda priorities. Individuals and organizations may submit comments of no more than 10 pages in length by March 23rd. The White House announced the creation of the agenda in September after the unveiling of the first ever comprehensive framework for responsible development of digital assets. The new agenda is part of the spate of crypto related research activity initiated by the President's executive order ensuring responsible development of digital assets issued in March. All right, so they're asking for your comments. Don't tell me your comments this time. Tell the White House Office of Science. Um, and if you can, if you want to, let me know your thoughts. All right, so let's talk about the U.S. Department of who? Department of Senator Warren. Yeah, Department of Senate. See, the U.S. people who don't know the outside of the U.S. and I have my listeners outside of the U.S. is in the U.S. Senators are elected by the people, but they don't represent the people. They represent the institutions. And uh, Senator Warren is a perfect example of someone who represents the institutions. She's saying crypto industry leaders are scared of a strong SEC. And lady, we're not scared of your nomination, Gensler. You nominated. I believe you nominated him. This wasn't you. I don't know who it was. But yeah, we're not scared of him. So United States Senator and crypto skeptic Elizabeth Warren wants the SEC to double down on its crypto enforcement efforts, highlighting that the cryptocurrency industry is running scared for what's to come next. Warren's comments came during an interview with the American Economic Liberties Projects on January 25. She opined that since Gensler was sworn in as SEC chairman in April 21, the commission has made a good start on fixing some of the problems created by the former SEC leaders under the Trump administration. Um, Jay Clayton was nominated and appointed by the Obama administration after Dodd-Frank, lady. And, Senator Warren, with all due respect. And his job was to fix the executive comp and to fix the board of director appointments in Dodd-Frank. He didn't do that. And then Trump came in and he didn't do that then. And then Gensler came in and Biden was elected and he hasn't done it yet. So for 12 years, the SEC hasn't been doing its job. So now you want them to double down when they can't even do their job. So let's see what you want to say. Warren claimed that the previous SEC administration essentially gave the green light to open up a cryptocurrency market full of junk tokens, unregistered securities, rug pulls, Ponzi schemes, pump and dump, money laundering, and sanctions evasions. Exactly what happens in the board of directors appointments in DEF 14A in your public companies, your stock companies. That's what happens, especially when people embellish their backgrounds to become directors. That needs to be investigated and crypto left alone. But let's see. But now it's being cleaned up by the guests. No, nothing's being cleaned up by Gensler leader, and you couldn't call it leadership. Let's get out of this article because it's not what he's doing is not leadership. So let's go. Let's go next to the U.S. the Justice Department. Let's talk about the U.S. Justice Department because they did something. They, besides the Bislato debacle, they seized the website of prolific ransomware gang Hive. According to U.S. Federal and Bureau of Investigation Director Christopher Wray, on January 26, international law enforcement groups have dismantled the infamous Hive cryptocurrency ransomware gang. He claimed that the operation has recovered over 1,300 decryption keys for victims since July 2022 and prevented 130 million in ransomware payments. Officials raised the example of one incident where a Hive ransomware attack on a Louisiana hospital was thwarted by law enforcement, saving the victim from $3 million ransom payment. That's a pretty big payment. Ghost servers were reportedly seized and Wednesday night in a law enforcement effort and a German effort and a Netherlands effort, and all together, and working with Europol, where they track ransom payments and then seize them back from victims and dismantle the network's infrastructure. That's good news. That's good news. We don't like North Korean hackers over here where we are. So, yeah, thwart them all you can. Thank you very much. And let's see if we have anything else here in the U.S. And I don't believe that we do, but there's something that affects the U.S. company, and this is also, global too. Leaked bids, Binance and Galaxy Digital, among secret bidders for Celsius assets. Uh, At least 5 firms placed bids on Celsius Network's crypto assets, including Binance and Galaxy Digital, according to leaked information shared by Tiffany Fong, a crypto blogger. Fong, a follower of Celsius Developments, who shot to fame after several exclusive interviews with Sam Bankman-Fried, nothing really the interview there, following FTX collapse, has published documents, says she, that were obtained on December 20, detailing the bids on Celsius Network's crypto assets. In a Substack post, Fong explained that she initially refrained from leaking the bids to avoid disrupting the bidding process, but was prompted to do so after recent commentary from a lawyer representing Celsius. She says in a tweet, I refrain from sharing the bids. I refrain from sharing the bids publicly to avoid disrupting the bidding procedures or negatively impacting customer recoveries. However, in yesterday's Celsius Network's court hearing, Kirkland and Ellis attorney Ross Quastanet proclaimed the bids have not been compelling. Okay. Thank you, Tiffany, for all your hard work. Continue to do a good job. We appreciate it. Thank you. And yeah, awesome. Good work. Let's go to South America because we have to get out of here because U.S. is a SS, which is called a shoot show, but shoot's pronounced differently. So let's go to South America. Okay. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong urges Bitcoin legal tender for Brazil and Argentina. Okay. Coinbase CEO tweeted that Bitcoin might be the right long-term bet for the two South American countries currently seeking a common currency. As Brazil and Argentina started prep work for a potential common currency, Brian Armstrong floated the idea of the two countries moving to Bitcoin, sparking various discussions over the viability of Bitcoin as a national currency, which you've already seen in El Salvador and somewhat in Tonga. The two South American countries announced they started to prepare that would run parallel with the Argentine peso and Brazilian real. The move could potentially create the second largest currency bloc. Wow, cool. Armstrong says the BTC will be the right long-term bet. And I think, what is the right long-term bet? Is it Bitcoin or is it stable coins? I'm leaning heavily toward it being Bitcoin over stable coins because Bitcoin is anti-inflationary and stable coins, if they're tied to a currency, if that currency drops, then the stable coin drops too, right? So, but let me know your thoughts. What are the benefits and the disadvantages of stable coins versus Bitcoin? Let me know your thoughts on that because it's always should be a compelling and interesting conversation. Okay, so let's go to UK, right? I'm going to go to the actually, let's go with overall Europe. Let's go to overall European Union first, and we'll go to the UK. The EU lawmakers vote for more restrictive capital requirements on banks holding crypto. Okay. They say, what does it say here? The Economic and Monetary Affairs Committee of the European Parliament has voted for measures requiring banks holding cryptocurrencies to set aside a punitive amount for capital. In a January 24 notice, the European Parliament announced the committee had voted overwhelmingly in favor of the amendments to the Capital Requirements Regulation and Capital Requirements Directive applying to banks holding crypto. According to a draft law, banks would be required to hold a risk-weighted exposure amount of up to 1,250% of capital based on exposure to crypto. 1,250%. That's a lot. That's like 125 times. The legislative institution said changes were in line with those from the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, the body responsible for international banking standards. That's overwhelming. Wow, that's a lot of money. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Let's go to UK. Well, let me know your thoughts on that if you have them. Yeah. UK. FCA. UK's FCA hints at why it's only given 15% of crypto firms a regulatory nod. Despite the plans to turn the region into a bustling crypto hub, the UK's financial watchdog says it has given the all clear to only 41 out of 300 crypto firm applications seeking regulatory approval to date. The UK FCA implemented the new cryptocurrency focused regulations on January 10 to supervise businesses operating in the sector and to ensure that they're subject to the same anti money laundering and counter terrorist financing regulations as firms in traditional financial markets. A statement from the FCA has revealed that 265 applications that were determined, a mere 15%, were approved and registered, while 74% of the firms either refused or withdrew their applications, and 11% were outright rejected. Okay, they didn't say why. They didn't say it was good or poor quality. Um, yeah, if you do that, you might be watched more than you ever expected before in your life. So so let's go to Ireland. Ireland. Um, Ireland's central bank governor calls for ban on crypto ads targeting young adults. Gabriel McAuliffe, the governor of the Central Bank of Ireland, reportedly supports legislation that would ban advertising crypto projects to young people. Okay, interesting. According to a January 25 report from Bloomberg, Mukulov said before the Committee on Finance, Public Expenditure and Reform that there was an uncomfortable level of crypto advertisements targeting young adults. The central bank governor reportedly referred to many cryptocurrencies as unbacked assets and suggested lawmakers find a way of banning related ads. He cited the implementation of the European Union's marketing crypto assets (MiCA) framework as one of the central bank's milestones for 2023. EU policymakers have pushed back on a final vote. So, don't target young people. What does that do? Well, it does a lot. I mean, a lot of people in the crypto community are young, especially in NFTs, and they need to know about these NFTs and community and stuff like that. So I think it's important that you know NFTs continue, and young people continue to be interested in them because that's really been the population, and I think it's important that they are part of the economy. As far as crypto tokens, I won't let anybody know what I'm holding because I don't want them to have more than me and then shill it and then dump on their fans. And this is what a lot of people do who don't understand business. And the younger you are, the less you understand business or have any experience working for a company. But in the NFT world, so with that said, I'm sure that's going to spark a likely debate. And I ask you for your thoughts on that. Are NFTs for the older generations or are they for the younger generations? And are regular crypto tokens for better suited for the older generations as opposed to NFTs? Let me know your thoughts. I know it's pretty deep, right? So let's go. Netherlands. We're staying in Europe. Netherlands. Coinbase is fined $3.6 million in the Netherlands. So Die Nederlandsche Bank, DNB, the Dutch central bank, fined cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase 3.3 million euros due to non-compliance with local regulations for financial service providers. The exchange reportedly failed to obtain the necessary registration to offer services in the Netherlands prior to beginning operations in the country. The DNB said it took into consideration the size of Coinbase as a company and the fact it has a significant number of customers in the Netherlands, so they can afford that money. The authorities claim Coinbase was non-compliant during the time period between November 2020 and August 2022. Okay. All right. Well, you get what you get. You don't get upset. I used to say that to my kids when they're little. So does that make me a bad daddy? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. So let me go to Asia, Japan. Remember the Mike Tyson game? Or no, it was Punch Out, not Punch Out. Ah, it was a video game on Nintendo, and they said to every country, and they said Japan, and it was Ryu. But Japan's FSA expects to allow certain stablecoins by June 2023. Japan's new regulations allowing investors to trade using stablecoins like Tether are expected to be adopted no later than June 2023, according to a local financial authority. The FSA of Japan is working on lifting the ban on domestic distribution of stablecoins, planning to allow certain stablecoins later this year. This does not mean that all foreign products of so-called stablecoins will be allowed without restriction, a spokesperson for the FSA said. FSA will only allow stablecoins that successfully pass individual checks, ensuring that such cryptocurrencies are safe from the viewpoint of user protection. Cool. Okay. Protecting users. That's important. Let me know your thoughts. And then we're going to go over here to North Korea. North Korea, that's 2 times North Korea's in the news. One from the U.S. side and one from the North Korea side. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has confirmed the Lazarus Group and APT 38 as the culprits behind the $100 million Harmony Bridge hack from June. The North Korea-linked cyber group had long been suspected of being behind the attack, but their involvement hadn't been confirmed by authorities until now. According to a statement, the FBI noted that through our investigation, we were able to confirm that the Lazarus Group and APT 38, cyber actors associated with the DPRK, are responsible for the theft of $100 million of virtual currency from Harmony's Horizon Bridge. The Harmony Bridge hack in 2022 was the result of security holes in Harmony's Horizon Ethereum Bridge that allowed the cyber attackers to swipe a number of assets stored in that bridge via one-on-one transactions. Thank you, FBI. Let me know your thoughts. If the crypto space didn't have North Korean hackers, would it be a safer place? And not to judge North Korea people, but would it be safer? And let's go to Middle East. Okay, we're gonna go to Middle East. Saudi Arabia. Saudi central bank still researching CBDC, but no decision on deployment. The Saudi central bank SAMA is ramping up its research into central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, but is yet to announce a deployment. In January 23rd bulletin, the bank stated it was working on a phase of a project that focuses on domestic wholesale CBDC use cases in collaboration with local banks and fintechs. However, it confirmed that there had been no final decision to launch such a digital currency in the Middle Eastern nation. All right, so Saudi's still looking into CBDCs. Basically, I could have said that in one sentence. I didn't. All right, let's go to Australia. For the last news of the day, we're going to go to Australia. Let's go. Australia ranks 3rd in crypto ATM installations after the US and Canada. Wow. Despite the bear market and the record low dynamics of the new Bitcoin ATM installations around the world, Australia has broken into the top 3 nations globally by the number of crypto ATMs. It was only in the first days in January where Aussies got to the 4th spot. Now the 3rd. Since that time, 16 more machines have been installed. According to Coin ATM Radar's data, which should all be one word, Australia now enjoys 234 crypto ATMs, which puts the country in the 3rd spot globally after the US and Canada. In 3 weeks, outperforms Spain, which possesses 222 crypto ATMs. So, US, Canada, Australia, Spain. That's what it is. That's what it is. Awesome. And that's the news wrap up for the day, for the week. I thank everybody for listening. I have a little bit of a cold, you can tell. Hopefully next week I won't have that cold. That cold will be gone, but the news will be here. I'll be here for another episode of the X Factor with the Crypto Hipster. Have an awesome week. I will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in.